Hello Leo, and welcome to my channel Spiritual Nomad. I'm coming to you today from Almería in Spain. Very nice little stretch of the coast along here. And the weather is finally a little bit cooler. I hope I find you all well wherever you are in the world. Let's see what we've got for you today. This is a message for the second week in June, but obviously the timelines are whenever you come to it is when it's relevant. And needless to say, this is a general reading for the sign of Leo, so if it does not resonate for you, just leave it. Watch a different video instead, and maybe there's something else out there that will. So let's just see what we've got going on. Okay, Leo. Right. Okay, so I think maybe something has happened. There's been quite a big shift in your life. Maybe a relationship's ended, or a job's ended, or you've had to move out of a place that you really loved. This has happened. You'd actually been dealing with it very well, taking it in your stride. This is all fine, it's a new chapter, but actually maybe this is sort of the tail end of last week or the beginning of this week. It's actually starting to hit home a little bit, and you're starting to feel a little bit you're feeling a bit nostalgic about the situation. So maybe you were really happy to leave a relationship or happy to leave a job, but you're hitting this week from a place of like, actually, do you know what? As I was going through it, it was so intense, and I was just on the ride of it all. And now things have calmed down a bit. That's when you're in a position when all of a sudden you're actually starting to absorb what's happened in your life. It could be the loss of a family member. It could be a collection of things, but it is definitely a real tower moment in your life. So it was something quite dramatic that happened. It didn't necessarily mean that you resonated with it as negative at the time. You may have actually been the instigator of it, and it doesn't mean that it is negative. I think it is positive. I think it's that if it's something that you've moved away from, obviously, if it's grief, it's, there's, you have to go through that. That's obviously not a good thing, but it's something that we all have to go through in life. But I feel it's more something like a relationship that you've, or a job that you've chosen to leave, but now you're starting to feel nostalgic about that, and you're starting to kind of, I don't know if you want it back. I don't think that you actually want it back. I think you know in your heart of hearts you've definitely made the right choice. So let's see what we've got coming up for you next. Right. Yes, so you've stepped away from either a union, a marriage, a long-term relationship, or perhaps a unit of people. It could be a friendship group. More likely it's a workplace or a relationship situation or a marriage situation. Yeah, we've got the Lovers reversed as well. I personally think to whoever this message is for, I do think it would predominantly going towards the relationship, and I'd say a longer term. This is not a short-term fling. This is perhaps something you've been in for years, decades. So this is the end of a long-term relationship or a marriage, and you are probably the person that's chosen to end it, but you've ended it because of the actions of somebody else. So if it wasn't for their actions, you wouldn't have ended it, right? And this is where we've got the reluctance coming in here. So there is actually at least one person offering you something afresh. So again, if this is work for you, then perhaps there's a fresh job opportunity, or maybe even your old company is offering you some form of promotion if you return, or a pay bonus if you return. If it's romance, that person could be trying to return, trying to say to you that perhaps things will be different, or this could be somebody afresh offering you something new, which whatever the offer is, there is a reluctance here. I think it's probably more something afresh than the previous person. But if it's workplace, it may well still be the same company. Okay, great. So we've got the Leo card come up here. We've got the Sun. We've got the Four of Wands and the Sun, with the Ten of Swords in between there. So the Ten of Swords, this is completion. So as much as obviously, you know, it doesn't exactly look particularly positive, but it's completed. So this is a cycle. This is a cycle that has come to an end. So, and we're nestled either side of these two things here. So I think you're actually, in this particular instance, rather than moving towards this Four of Wands, I think that you've moved away from the Four of Wands, but you're moving towards the Sun. So maybe you were in a particularly settled position, so perhaps you were very settled down. Now, being settled can be amazing, obviously, and very grounding, but sometimes it can be restrictive, especially if there's things that Leo hasn't yet done. So, so being released sometimes from the Four of Wands, especially if it's all very well being underneath this wonderful gala, but if you're with the wrong person under there, then it's not the right place for you to be, and you're not going to be able to grow within the wrong connection and the wrong unit. So being freed from that cycle ending, because that cycle wasn't good, you know, it's next to this, and excuse me, sorry about that. So that cycle was like a facade. It wasn't everything that it appeared to be, and actually from moving on from that cycle, you're going to move towards the Sun. So I do wonder if for some of you, perhaps travel's on the horizon, you know, maybe even just as simple as a holiday, perhaps, you know, whilst you're with that person that, you know, you just never seem to get away. Perhaps it's that you need a holiday after everything that you've been through. You need to get to the Sun. Maybe you're actually going to move away, move somewhere warmer, or you are going to go travelling. Don't necessarily always see the Sun as that. Very, very many different readings. I'm intuitive about what I see and when. Oh, that one's definitely wanted to come out. Yeah, so let's just see. So yeah, Four of Pentacles. So we've got the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Cups here. So, and the Four of Wands, we've got a lot of fours. You're holding on, you're reminiscing. There's nostalgia this week. There's a lot of nostalgia that you actually need to work through. You need to address your feelings of nostalgia and talk through stuff. Maybe you need to actually talk through the good times and the bad times. Yeah, and here we go. We've got the Five of Cups. So again, it's the whole scenario over and over again. I'd say that, you know, maybe you've actually been ecstatic about being out of this situation, and now this week's when you're going to have to sit down. You're going to have to sit down, and you're going to have to address it, because it's caught up with you, or it's catching up with you this week, and you're going to have, yeah. So I mean, this week would be a really good week for the Leo to sort of sit down with a really good friend and talk through in a really lovely way, you know, the good, the bad. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Star reversed. So, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles reversed here. So, and you know, we've come into it with, you know, you're feeling like, you have been feeling like this as you've charged away from this situation. This week you're feeling like this. It's all happened. It's not all about to happen. This is just a week that you're going to, You're going to need to sit with some stuff. You're going to need to talk some stuff through with some really good friends and make some really good plans for the future moving forward. You need to let go of the things that you're holding on to and that you're dwelling on. So you're dwelling on the past and you're holding on to things. It's time to let them go, but you're not going to just let them go like that. You need to actually sit with what's happened, what's been going on for you. You need to take stock. Okay, so I'm gonna end the tarots there, and I'm going to pick you a Wild Offerings Oracle card to end the reading. And this is a lovely deck which I've been using each week, and the words are by Tosha Silver, and the illustrations are by Katie Daisy, and they're quite hard to shuffle. They're very beautiful, and I love the messages on them. They really seem to resonate really quite well. Let's see, we've got for Leo as your message for this week. Enjoyment. I'm just going to show you the back of the card there. Enjoyment. Striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. Allow me to enjoy this life, dear Lord. Just focus on the message there. Enjoyment. So yes, I think that rounds up the reading really nicely. Take stock of what's happened, address it, talk about it. Don't just reminisce about the bad times, reminisce about the good times. Maybe you'll even do that with that person. Maybe that's what needs to happen here. And then embrace the fact that you're going to enjoy life. You've got a whole new chapter, that you and this person had reached a point where you'd stopped growing together, or you'd reached a point in a career where you couldn't go any further with it. What's happened is the best thing to have happened. However it applies to you, Leo, there's a million other strains off that it could be. Basically, whatever, it's time for you to grow your feelers out in really different avenues and different directions. Be experimental, just enjoy. Don't worry about consequences so much. Obviously stay safe, but go and do it and enjoy life. And that's my message for you this week. I really hope that resonated. If not, don't worry about it. If it did, please like and subscribe to my channel, and watch again next week. This has been the Spiritual Nomad channel, and I'll see you later.